starting stream today. Got a few different Bloomburrow decks prepped and ready to go. Played a little bit of these already on the early access event on Friday. But what I want to start with today, which is not something we've played yet, is Blue-Red Wizards that is able to actually play Flare of Denial in the main deck, because now we have Thundertrap Trainer, a good 2-mana wizard that like digs pretty deep for Flare of Denial or Flame of Anor, and then also is a good thing to sacrifice to Flare. It's like an Augur of Bolas, but it sees 4 cards instead of 3, and it also has 2 toughness instead of 3, which is the downside. But you can also, in the late game top deck, and spend 2 mana to get a copy and get 2 cards into your hand. And so you just have a bunch of cheap cantripping wizards to give you good amount of card selection, gum up the board, and also sack to Flare of Denial on critical turns. We also have another really just like a ton of text 2-mana wizard, Kitsa Otterball Elite, 2-mana 1/3 Vigilance Prowess, 2 tap abilities, 1 to loot, 1 to copy a spell you control on the stack. We can only do this if the power is 3 or greater. Playing a lot of Spell Snares. I think very good card at the moment with all of the Gorios and energy. Pretty important to have a bunch of Spell Snares. I think I'm liking the snares a lot more than like other 1-mana removal spells like Galvanic Discharge with no other energy support. Wanted to play DRC Bobble, Heat, too many cards in the package, some Fire Ice. We'll see if Otter is better than Jace's Prodigy. Well, it better be, because that card is pretty bad. I think that it is, though. I think that it is. So all the uninstalls, reinstalls, it's like every start of every stream we have to resize everything. Alright, my opponent's gone. Flooded Strand go after revealing Gigantha. Could obviously be a lot of different things. Tobaz with the 48, Poly with the 14, Clock with the 51. Thank y'all so much. Alright, looking like a Boros. Obviously nice that we have a 2-mana wizard to curve into the Flame of Anors. There's an Amped Raptor. Revealing a Galvanic Discharge. Now, yeah, they can target their Raptor here. I'm going to go ahead and go ahead and bolt to deny the 3 energy. Certainly best case scenario for the Amped Raptor there. So they got 2 energy left in their pool. And we draw Kitsa. I think I would rather play the Trainer this turn, because I want to be able to maybe go Kitsa with Bolt Up, so they can't just bolt it for freezies. I have 2... So, I think it's... Seeing the other 2 flames is very funny here. I'm going to take the Fire Ice, where if I show my opponent Flame, they're going to know to kill my wizard here, and I really don't want them to kill my wizard. I want them to play creatures, and I can just go 3 for 1 them, 3 for 1 them. If they go Flage here, I guess that's going to have to be okay. Flage, definitely a good card against us. And let's go ahead and stick to this plan of playing Kitsa with the ability to bolt in response to beat another Flage or to beat a bolt of their own. If they have a discharge, we're going to lose the fight. Alright, I bolt you, I trigger Prowess. If you got another burn spell, you got another burn spell. They did, in fact, have another burn spell. Flare of Denial is not a bad draw at all. I'm going to go and keep this Preordain on top. Maybe digging for another wizard. Is there any way to get Bloomburrow cards out? I'm using the Content Creator Badge. As it stands, that might be the best way to be doing it. I think we're just going to try to keep this board clear for now. Let's go bottom top. And I'm going to cast the Trainer now. Counterspell, Preordain. Kind of close. I think I'm taking the Preordain. Just cast it now. Let me know if y'all would have taken something else. Could have maybe kept the land there. I think I'm a bit more interested in digging for another wizard in case I have to Flare of Denial this Flage Escape. So they reveal a Static Prison to their amulet, which I guess they'll Probably cast now. Maybe they have a 1-mana creature they'd rather deploy. Certainly not a great target, right? They decide to Galvanic Discharge instead. Okay, so they have 3 energy, 3 cards, 3 mana. Snapcaster is definitely a really nice pickup. There's a land. Will we see the first Flage escape? Obviously, these Flage... these Flages are going to be kind of tough to beat game 1. They do have to spend an energy. So I think what's the... Huh, I thought for some reason they had 1 less energy than this, but whatever. No Counterspell in the yard. It's just going to 3 mana, cancel. You know, as Richard Garfield intended, or whatever. So we can Snapcaster Flame of Anor. We could do that main phase maybe, and still have Flare of Denial up. I think I'm down to do this main phase. Just kill the amulet and draw 2. Can we talk magic-related Twitter drama? No, nothing less interesting. I try to steer clear of the silly magic drama on Twitter. Alright, so Aether Hub flipped over. Now I believe that they can only play the Aether Hub. Hoping we don't need to counter anything here. Not super likely that we will, I guess. They have no energy, so even if they have a fetch land for a surveil land, they shouldn't quite be able to escape Flage. Thoughts on spin downs? My D&D playgroup doesn't allow us to use spin downs when we play D&D, and I kind of feel like we should be able to. All right, we got 2 islands. Just gonna let that Blood Moon resolve. All right, so they got 1 card in their hand. Feeling pretty good about our spot. Hope everybody's having a good start to their Tuesday. This is the first deck you started testing? Yeah, this is game 1, match 1. You're not going to click the Counterspell button there. As long as you're actually rolling spin downs and have less variance than normal D20s, yeah. You're preaching to the choir. All right, I guess I'm going to 2-mode this. Probably gonna grab Lightning Bolt, since I can play this and have it up. Amy Runless. Mutabolt's pretty unplayable in my opinion. I know that doesn't exactly stop people from playing it, I guess, but I'm pretty low on Lightning Bolt in this archetype. Oh, low on Mutavolt. I think it's just your casting requirements are really strict in the deck, and it just like stops you from going double spell turn 2, stops you from counterspell on turn 2. Just not a card I like very much. Zach, 22 months. Love the Mockingbird Port Mage deck. Hope you get some more of it. Yeah, hopefully we can get some more of it today. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm definitely down on my list. Okay, lids. Just get in for 1. Yeah, I also remember when Electrolyze was not only modern playable, but like a really good modern card. Speaking of really good modern cards, how about kill your Gigantha, draw 2. Was it playable though? Yeah, it would. I mean, at least how I recall, I remember Electrolyze not only being playable, but just like actively very good. Kind of hard to not just leave the Snapcaster up. Playing Kitsa would also be pretty dang good. I guess I'm like somewhat likely to just kill my opponent with Kitsa next turn, so let's play the Kitsa. Okay. No 2-drops, huh? I want to cast the bolt on my turn, but I'll cast it on their turn if I need to. Okay, so let me... I think now we'll bolt the Guide of Souls now that we know that the Kitsa is not untapping. Okay, now I can Snap Flame the Shaman token without really needing to worry too much about the Flage. Because even if they, like... I guess if they draw a Bolt or a Flame, they can actually get it in. Canister, thank you for the raid. Hope you're doing well today. All that stuff. Welcome all to all the faithless looters. Playing a new Flare of Denial build of Wizards now. We've got Thundertrap Trainer, and we're also playing Kitsa in the deck. How many removal spells have been used this game? Easily above 15. I mean, between the two of us, probably around that. They more so on their side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hopefully we can get that Kitsa back. So they choose to not loot with the Fable. They've got 1 card in their hand. Seems like a card worth flaring. My opponent cannot quite escape the Flage either. Maybe I should bounce the... Maybe I should bounce the Moon. I think I'm just going to hold up mana. This is still game 1, right? We'll get the record tracker. How many wizards are in the deck? I think it's 16. We have got 3 Kitsa, 4 Thundertrap Trainer, 1 Augur of Bolas, 4 Snap, 4 Tamiyo. So Flame very, very online in this deck. So we're up a game here against Boros. I'm going to be bringing in the Pyroclasms, going to be bringing in the Hearses, going to be bringing in the Scoldings. I think all these cards are really nice in the matchup. As good as Flare of Denial, I think, is nice to have. I don't think I'm going to be playing any post board. And then probably trimming a little bit on these because we just want to move away from these post board. Could play like 1. They definitely were not bad. Definitely were not bad that game. Let's leave 1 in. This deck goes crazy. I think there's too many Kitsa. So one thing about the weird thing about Kitsa, like too many, it's a legend that loots. So if you have 1 in play, you can just loot away extra copies. And then you really like to have 1 in play kind of at all times if you can. So I probably disagree that it's a card that you really hate to have multiples of because like you can just replace them or loot extra copies away. I could be wrong. Okay, hopefully the snares get to do more work this game than they did last game. Tamiyo is always a good cut versus them, awful versus Static Prison and Flage. I don't know. I actually really disagree that it's awful against Static Prison. It's like if I were if we go Tamiyo turn 1 and they Static Prison turn 1, that's usually a really good exchange for you because a lot of times they have to lose the Static Prison. Obviously not ideal against Flage, but still like a 1-mana creature versus the 3-mana removal spell, right? We could hold up Snap Snare or sink into the Stupor. I definitely want to get another island here. Any consideration to play Mutavault? Mutavault is so bad in this archetype. I think you should not play it. It's just bad with your mana requirements, and we also are not doing bad on wizards. No, if you flip her, you gotta do all the work again. Oh, I see. Flip into the Static Prison. Yeah. I think Tamiyo is just like she's just 1 mana. I have a hard time wanting to cut the 1-mana threats in these matchups. But I don't know. I see what you're saying, Jacob. Also good to see you in chat, of course. Okay, so we're gonna let this resolve, I guess. Then let's go surveilling. Okay, hard to say no to Flame of Anor in this spot. I'm just gonna play this tapped, and then we'll like draw 2 or kill something with the flame this turn cycle, and then next turn we can go. Well, I guess we can't go trainer with sync up unless we draw a land. Oh, sorry, I did want the second island. I mean, I don't know. The surveillance may be okay, but sorry, I did want the second island. They're gonna go Haste of Titan. Yeah, I kind of hope so. Maybe not hope, but like I want them to do this now instead of like making me need to hold up the sync forever. Let's pass back again. Yeah, the record tracker always breaks during set releases downtime. This is round 1. Game 2. Up a game. Yeah, I agree. Good play of them to not exert here. Kind of weird. I'm just going to bolt snap bolt them. I want to get a wizard in play for Flame of Anor pretty bad. I want to use my mana. I want to not just let them sit back forever. Could be good to play the trainers this turn, though. Or like one trainer look for a counterspell. Because it is pretty bad if my opponent just like kills the Snapcaster and then I don't get to flame any creature. So take Fire Ice over Pyroclasm at this juncture, and I think I'll just play one here. Hearse, very good. Flare. Flare is probably just too nice when I'm like really ahead on board like this. I have too much to sack. They could have Gigant in hand, could easily exert it. I mean, I would love if they did that. I would just chump and then flame. With no energy in the pool, I think we just let this go. They hit a Galvanic Discharge. Discharge again. Their hand is Giganta Mystery card. Okay, very interesting. Hard to feel like we're in super bad position. That is a pretty good top deck for them, though. So I'm going to let my opponent spend the energy, and then I'm going to go fire, 1 damage to the Amped Raptor, 1 damage to my opponent, and then plan to counterspell either the Giganta or the Flage. Howdy, Simon. Okay, pass him back. We use the Hardcast Flare instead of Flame of Anor, because we kind of would prefer for the Guide of Souls to not get anything. So we are looking for a Tamiyo would be like the best draw. Let's go Tamiyo, flip, kill the Guide of Souls. We'll take this though. More likely to draw 2 end of turn than I am to just kill the Guide of Souls, but we'll see what happens. They've already used 2 Elegant Parlors, so don't need to worry so much about another Surveil helping them get this Flage going. Looks like they did draw another spell, a Soul Guide Lantern. Seems like this is fine. I'm okay if they leave this up. I'm okay if they crack it now. Did you play the Mockingbird deck you talked about in the PowerPoint during the preview event? A little bit, yeah, and it was pretty good. I thought at the very least Mockingbird was really good, and Port Mage was like promising, but maybe a bit more of a complicated card. Like I'm never killing this Guide of Souls before. before I give them their turn. But if they put the counters, I just take this hit, kill it on the instep so they can't escape the Flage before I can counterspell. And then we're just in pretty good shape. We'll have 4 cards in hand versus the Flage. Obviously, you know, me choosing to get that Flare denial instead of the Hearse ended up backfiring, but that was only bad against my opponent having 3 removal spells on their turn, or only like really bad against that, so I feel like that ended up being okay. Does Mockingbird have a home in Death Shadow Nethergoyf? I mean, maybe. I copying either of those cards seems fine for sure. I think you mostly want to try to play the card with Ranger Captain. I don't think, and it's just like it just seems to be pair better with the white cards than the black cards. But maybe. All right, just like last game, countering Flage infinite times. A lot of good top decks, including this one. Mockingbird being Shadows 5/3 seems awesome. I agree that it seems awesome. I'm a big Shadow fan. Everyone here is a big Death Shadow fan, I know. But it is certainly true that Death Shadow is not the card it used to be. Card is fine. Card is somewhat playable. Is not like super premium card you can afford to play around. At the very least, I do kind of hear the sentiment a lot about. I think I'm gonna put back a bolt. I hear this sentiment, but what you're saying, that Solitude was what pushed Shadow out, but I just kind of think Shadow was already kind of out before Solitude, and I played a lot of Shadow. You know, when Solitude was more popular back in like the Luris era, I played a lot more Death Shadow than I do now, and I basically never felt like Solitude was a super hard card to play around. Flare, Snare, Preordain. Take the Preordain. We are missing land drops. Already have a Flare for the Augur. Okay, I'm gonna probably bolt this. If I draw a land, which I did, I guess we'll just Preordain first no matter what. I'm gonna bottom both. Since I have Snapcaster for another bolt, I think we might as well start getting in with our OG Augur. Definitely feeling this mulligan on the play in this matchup though, but it's nice to have at least gotten 1 2-for-1. Any cool otters you're excited to try in Prowess? I don't know if there's any I'm like super excited to try, because I went, you know, talking about those cards in my YouTube video I did. I mostly think that all of these possible options for Prowess they're all like fine, but they're all likely a little bit worse than existing options, which makes me not too excited about it. Why are we not playing Otter of Bolas instead? We have 4 Otter of Bolas, 1 Augur of Bolas. Thank you for tuning in. I think we just counter this. Kind of close. Yeah, I figured pizza. Okay, so they bolt in there, sink into the Stupor. 4 cards in their hand at the moment. A lot of options here. I could hold up mana and have Snap Flare up, and then get that countered, or I can cast Snapcaster, get this countered, and then just Snap Preordain afterwards. I'm kind of cold to a Murktide either way, so I think I'll just do this. I was expecting to Snap Preordain last turn. Well, they had Counterspell up, so I figured I wanted to play a little bit more reactively. Played Wizards 10th and Energy 10k. Can't figure out how to fix the Jeskai control matchup. Any ideas? I do think these flares probably will help a good amount. Narset is one of the better cards you can play. Flage is really tough problem that you have to figure out how to solve. I don't know how to solve it for you. Um, yeah, Narset, Hearses, or I would bring in the Hearses against them, just like maybe like a third piece of Graveyard Hate. If they're playing Expressive, they're very likely playing my build, and it's very unlikely they're playing Murktide. I hope you're right, Jacob. I will say that there's been this long trend of like shatters like thinking at opponents on the list, but then they just still have Murktide, or like they just, you know, the read is wrong or whatever. It's been like kind of comical how often this has been happening, but I do hope you're right, Jacob. Okay, does kind of look like your list. I think so, at least. Oh shit, these are all islands, right? And they have all islands too. I'm still doing the thing where um I'm still doing the thing where I think that I have red mana when the Harbinger's in play. So my opponent also doesn't have red mana. I have one sink into the Stupor that can deal with this while it's in play. I also can just get the Snapcaster down and start attacking. I want to use the Snapcaster like super aggressively, so I'm just gonna try to Snap Flare. Okay, so I can't flare anymore, but I can at least have the Snapcaster down. Do you have any opinions on playing a ring in a Karn board versus playing 4 main? It's usually right to play it in the board. There are some exceptions. I think like the Flare of Cultivation deck that really wants to slam the ring on turn 2 is an exception. Okay, 2 cards on the top with the Preordain. That is less than ideal. Oh, okay. That's a bit more ideal, I guess. Opponent also likely out of, or a bunch of like 2 red cards in hand. So my take on Harbinger the Seas versus Magus, similar power level. I mean, they do very similar things. I would say yes, similar power level. um, I mostly think that Blood Moon is probably a bit better than other options, and like these Izzet shells. I think having to play the vistas and the islands and the mountains a bit awkward, and I don't think I even really want to be on like a main deck Blood Moon necessarily at the moment. But um, okay, so this is going to target a bolt. I think I'm just going to flame this and draw 2 with Counterspell up. But it's definitely an interesting card. Certainly better against red removal. I think Charmaw is better in red than Break the Ice in black. I agree that Charmaw is super, super good. Is it better to make them cast the bolt first? I guess it's better for them to put on the stack, yeah. No, I agree with that. I was hoping to get to Offspring, this Thundertrap Trainer, although I do think there's a very good chance my opponent's last card is Subtlety. Although I guess that possibility is shrinking now that my... sorry, I also forgot to update the record. Okay, so I guess if their last card is Subtlety, I want to go cast this Trainer, let them Subtlety it, then go Tamiyo Bolt. Although, of course, again, this is just still, kind of guessing that that's the card. Austrian match 1 game 1. We did Offspring this already today, but not in this match. This is actually match 2 game 1. Okay, so let's take the Flare. And then I think I'm going to go bolt this Tamiyo main phase to see if they have the counterspell. I guess it's not that important. The thing is, they know I have the Flare, so if they have the counterspell, they know I'm going to trade. I'm still going to cast this with the ability to Flare, sack the Trainer. I'm just confused why they block Snap with Harbinger. Yeah, it is a bit more confusing now when they just like didn't play any red cards, right? Yeah, I think you're gonna see a lot of these two cards. I also have like a mostly blue-white build that's like splashing like Eternal Witness package that I think has some promise. Yeah, you can get another Surveil land with this. Postboard 46. Thank you. Welcome back. You've not split the basic land arts between seasons. Huh? I didn't even know that there were multiple season arts from the set. Yeah, I can't really say no to counter magic at this point in the game. Millions of mana head on board. Okay, so get our opponent all the way down to 9 life points, drawing a whole extra card every turn. Card advantage, board advantage, mana advantage. Feeling pretty good. I might have the highest ratio of success in Magic over awareness of product details. That might be true. I just like Modern, and I like building decks in Modern, and that's kind of it. Feel slightly vindicated. No discharge this deck. I was gonna cut the card completely for the Otter build. Yeah, I think it just makes sense to be on Bolt Snare, Fire, Ice, Flame as your creature interaction. Although of course there's a lot of ways to do it. I feel like I should just let this go. I just have another Tamiyo in my hand. Yeah, it seems like Augur of Bolas' biggest strength is attacking for like 10 damage over the course of a game. I don't mind no discharge killing frog is hard. We have, again, 3 main deck Spell Snare. Helps a lot. All right, still have another flare up if their last card is relevant. Yeah, I think I'll just stop there, draw 2. 0 mana counterspells are good. So I guess if they draw Snapcaster, having sync up is pretty relevant. Um, Not being able to loot away the steam vents with the Kitsa is worse, but I think holding this up is probably correct. Wait, was that game 1? That was a long game 1. Okay, up a game. I'm gonna bring in my unlicensed hearse, I guess. Although these are kind of bad against Flame of Anor. The Scolding should be pretty good though. Maybe these are a trap. They just kind of sit and they died flame. Don't know if that makes sense. We could bring a Narset. I kind of think I'm just weirdly just want to not play Hearse and just want to play Scoldings and just keep the curve kind of mean, lean, and clean. Hearse is not worth it. Died of flame and only hit snap. Well, they also hit Tamiyo minus, and they get kind of big out of burn range. But I agree. I think this kind of plays into flame too hard. I'm just gonna play Scoldings. I think not gonna play Narsets. I feel like Narset is better than Hearse. Narset's like okay, but I think I just gotta keep the curve lower. This is still a good amount of top end, and we also have all these augurs and stuff. It's like 2 mana, 2-for-1s. Well, not gonna keep. I'm gonna keep this one. Mana Cliff. I guess I want to Preordain here so I can try to have my third land on time for Flame of Anor. And I'm just going to keep both of these and can go Trainer next turn into Flame on turn 3 if I need to, or just Tamiyo Trainer on turn 3. But I think it's better to do it this way, where like if my opponent has a removal spell and they feel like they need to remove my wizards because they're scared of Flame of Anor, which they should be, then I want them to kill Trainer early over Tamiyo maybe. Could potentially get to blank the mana. Change the equation. Maybe I was just supposed to end of turn Joel 2. Tamiyo's kind of scary. Right, Snap Dispute, 1 card in hand, 2 after they draw. I'm hoping to surveil into any wizard. Kitsa, Snapcaster, Trainer, Augur, Tamiyo, all really good. Snapcaster kind of especially good because it lets me snap Flame. I'm sure there are some non-wizard cards I would keep. At least we have an easy choice. Mozart with the 12 months. Thank you. Welcome back. If they have yet another counterspell, we will probably just lose. Do you have a place that shows Decklist you're putting in place? Yes, wonderful sponsor of the channel, Moxfield. They are where we host all of the deck lists on the channel. So you can go there, just pour through the last 5 years of full-time deck lists. There's also deck lists sitting in on YouTube. There's also like a reservoir of like past streams over on YouTube. There's the Twitch VODs, but lists themselves all over on Moxfield. Very much appreciate them. They've been so good to me. All right, they shock in the Steam vents, probably hitting the Tamiyo down to 3. Certainly a great top deck. Then they're able to snap discharge, and then holding up Clue Sacrifice. So behind on board, a little bit ahead on cards, with a lot of good top decks. This one is definitely fine. I think I probably am going to actually just play this way if I draw. I guess I only have 2 trainers left in the deck, but I could 6 mana them and just try to keep my life total kind of higher. Would I keep Subtlety and Beseem Ring? If not, what would you replace it with? I would keep it in. I don't think the card is great at the moment, but I think it's an important piece. In my head on cards that much of as a clue. I'm not ahead on cards that much anyways. I guess I'm just not really even at all after playing this and bolting. But it didn't sack the clue end of turn though. It was weird. Excuse me. Okay, down to 13. Flare this. 3 cards in their hand. Come on, Snapcaster, Otter, Augur. Take a Preordain. Okay. Down to 11. I think with Preordain on top, you know, we're likely to find more action. I think I just want to run out the Snapcaster here. Get into a little bit of a fight over this. If they have two counterspells in their hand, like it's just kind of good for us to take the trade now. We have Preordain on top. Did have two counterspells. They still have another card in their hand too. All right. So I guess we're keeping this flame and just going to start off by trying to draw two cards. Is their last card a counterspell? Seems like it's not. I'm at 11 life points. I got a Scolding in the hand. Your turn. I think I'm going to slam this in my opponent's upkeep. Fair enough. Down to 7. There's a Scalding Tarn. Not sure if they have a second Thundering Falls or not. Wow! That is lucky. I guess I should main phase this. At this point, with them having one card in their hand, I think the upside of me like drawing Tamiyo, casting Tamiyo is higher than like blanking a little bit of mana. Maybe they have a dispute. I guess it's just Bolt. Okay, it's their own Flame of Anor, which is pretty bad for me. Pretty bad for me. May have to get, you know, may have to get to game 3. Frozen Fire, thank you for the 13 months. Glad you're still liking the stream after all this time. Hope you're doing well. Alright, let's wait a turn on the Kitsa, I guess. Down to 5. First in time and 13 tries to remember my name correctly. It's funny. Maybe I'll get it next time too. No promises. Alright, 2 cards in their hand. Certainly enjoy that draw. Would love for them to have a Snapcaster here. Would not love for them to have a Bolt, because I just kind of have to flare it. 3 cards in their hand. Why not jam the Otter? Well, it's kind of simple, right? I have 2 mana. I have 2 1-mana counter spells. It's very bad if my opponent's able to resolve something here. Okay, I guess I let this go. Them just bolting me, save it for the next bolt. Not the highest life total I've ever had. I mean, boy, they don't have a third bolt in their hand. Let's get in for just one. Maybe I'm supposed to snap flame. Let's keep the Snapcaster up for now. Am I streaming along today? I think so. I'm gonna try to at least. I did not sleep very well last night. I'm kind of a sleepy streamer today, but I'm gonna do what I can. I definitely, want to be here, want to be going as long as possible. It's okay. It's also okay if we don't just rest up and come back more stronger tomorrow. Yeah, we've drawn all of our Snapcasters, which has been. I like that for us. I'd say. Okay. Guess I'm gonna loot first. Okay. Snapcaster's modern staple. Modern playable Snapcaster Mage. Isn't Emery also a wizard? Emery is also a wizard, but Emery also has pretty different deck building requirements than Flame of Anor, but it is a wizard. All right, just good enough in the stack, yeah. So in the blind, on the draw, I'm gonna keep. Did utter sadness come from the Warren Investigator Arena of Glory idea? I had kind of mediocre results in testing. I think I'm pretty unlikely. I did build the deck and I played some with it, but the problem is it's like as cool as hasting Warren Instigator is, the double strike Goblin Instigator or whatever what is that card called? Goblin Lackey, the double strike Goblin Lackey, and like putting 2 goblins into play turn 2. There's just a lot of first strike. Amthraptor, Ocelot Pride have first strike, which is a big problem. Okay, Storm matchup. We have a lot of flare denials. That first strike's a problem. Guide of Souls being a 1/2 is a really big problem, and it seems like we probably are not getting there with that deck. Thoughts on Harbinger of the Seas in the 35? I would be, I think, a lot more likely to play Blood Moon over Harbinger of the Seas or Magus of the Moon. But I think Charmaw is also the better anti-Tron sideboard card, which is, of course, the main place you want that kind of effect anyways. This is for the Tron matchup. Don't you want to play Hall of the Mana Base? I don't. I'm not ever going to time out on Magic Online. I am never going to be in a position where I'm going to feel like I need to close games with a creature land. I just play really quickly. If you were worried about closing out games, you can play a Hall, and I think that is totally fine. But for me, I am not worried about it in the slightest. If you're worried about it, I encourage you to play it. Not everybody plays as fast as me, but I think the mana is better without the Hall, and I think we have Kitsa in the deck to close games out. I just don't feel like we need it. Do you think one Murktide in the Wizard Shells would be good? Cut one snare for one Murktide's case? I don't. I don't like to play any of these like just win condition cards. I feel like this build is very good at like getting ahead on board, ahead of cards, stabilizing board, slowly closing out games. I don't like these. I want to play a Murktide, I want to play a Hall, but y'all of course could play these if you wanted to. Yeah, I don't think Harbinger is bad, but I think in this shell I just rather play the Blood Moon. I think I'm gonna flare this. Yeah, Snapcaster also, of course. Then we can go Kitsa with Spell Snare up next turn. Although it might be better to Trainer again. Tamiyo is also pretty appealing. I think I'll still just play the Kitsa. I might be able to like flip Tamiyo pretty quickly with the Kitsa. So they glimpse into Burgi Mountain Pyretic Ritual. So these are becoming spawns. Burgi is pretty good against my Spell Snares, I guess. Why do red decks run Pyroclasm instead of Cinderclasm? Is an instant speed red mana? Well, Cinderclasm is double red, which is not super easy for this list, or as easy, maybe I should say. Oh, it's also 2 versus 3 mana. I thought Cinderclasm was 2 red for 2 damage. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it could be a little bit underexplored. Some discarding bolt. Oh, it is 3 mana. Yeah, 2 mana less than 3. It's just very important to be able to interact with, like, have a 2 mana sweeper against Boros is just really nice on the draw. Some free spell like Force of Subtlety? You're right. Free spells in this deck. Which free spells could we include, I wonder? I agree that some free counter spells could be a good addition. So they play a Ruby. I think I'm letting it resolve. Let that resolve too. But because I have the Flame, although it doesn't seem like they're going to play Ruby now. We did actually offspring the Otter in the first round. It was like, you know, nice to top deck and just grab. I think I will snare this though. Not a complaint, just an observation. Flare is really good to tap out and hold up, but an opponent playing around Flare can spend removal to sort of indirectly turn off Flare before forcing spells through. Yeah, that is I think certainly the case. Okay, so they have one card in their hand. Let's let this go with the hopes of flaring the Ral. They're spending the treasure token, which is scary. So I could flare this, or I could flare the first card they play. The problem with flaring the first card they play is them maybe flipping Ral, but the Ral would have 4 extra loyalty. I think I really, really, really don't want them to flip the Ral, so I'm just going to flare this. Is Voidmage Prodigy ever an option? Just way too slow, way too fragile. And the upside to letting this resolve and letting them cast Ritual means they maybe take 1 more damage, and then they have 1 less Ritual in their yard for when they do assemble Past in Flames again. But for now, let's just go ahead and attack with both of these. We should be pretty safe here. Like if they draw a Ritual, they're a mana short of flashing back Past in Flames, or they're 2 mana short of flashing back Past in Flames and casting anything. Now we actually have, you know, counter magic up, so we should be in pretty good shape here. Cal, 21 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Subscribed enough to drink channel points now. Yeah, drink channel points in moderation, please. Can I kill them so I can go bring back lightning bolt, bolt them, cast bolt again, copy the bolt, and then fire. So that would be 3 bolts and a fire. That's 9 plus 2. So 9 plus 2 is 11, plus 4 is 15. I'm you know, a sleepy spike today, but oh, sorry, I would have to bolt, snap bolt. Oh, sorry, I did miscount somehow. That's okay. I'll just leave up man. I mean, we can't really lose. I'm just gonna bolt, snap bolts, and I can copy the bolt on their end of turn too. I think I for some reason I think I counted this twice. Bolt you. Snapcaster bolt you, and then copy the bolt. Oh, I did not let the prowess trigger resolve first. A good lesson to learn, I guess. You did a miscount? Did I 3 bolts, 1 from copy, from Kitsa, then fire. I didn't have enough mana to bolt, snap, bolt, copy, bolt, and fire, did I? I definitely miscounted somewhere. But I left my recount thinking I didn't have enough. Okay, I still just can't really lose with these 2 cards. Not only do I play fast and lose. I mean, I can't possibly lose this game. But I did miscount. Copy doesn't trigger prowess. Yeah, but I had bolt, then snap bolt to get this up to 3 power. I just didn't let the prowess trigger resolve. That's okay though. We're gonna be up a game. They have no outs. To game 2 we go. Nice to be up a game. All these main deck spell snares I'm feeling pretty good about. Opponent is taking their time here. That didn't spell. I guess I could have nothing. Go to game 2. So up a game against Storm. We're not going to be changing our sideboard plan very much. I want to cut the Fire Ices, I think, and we could play Hearse. Hearse is kind of nice because you don't really have any way to exile Past and Flames, but it's just pretty mediocre overall. Consign to Memory counters Ruby, and that's kind of it. Like, countering Grapeshot doesn't really matter, and I don't think they're going to be bringing in a lot of removal. They might also bring in Flage against me, and if they bring in Flage, I'll really need the Hearses, so I think I'm just going to play the Hearses. I think you want to bring in Consign if you have, like, better lock pieces that you really want to protect from, like, their static prisons. First Pyroclasm is good against a small empty. I think I'm just going to be fighting their... Like, Tamiyo Plus also beats empty, but I'm also just going to be pressuring their... Not letting them get a big storm going. But also Tamiyo gets some Narset. I don't think Narset's very good. It's good against Manamorphose, and that's kind of it. Hard to tap out for, too. Consign is pretty good against them. I think I disagree. At least when you have 3 spell snares, that it's pretty good against them. It mostly just counters Ruby if you don't care about Static Prison, and I don't think we really care about Static Prison very much. Okay, on the draw against Storm, with no relevant counter magic, or no counter magic at all, I guess, we will mulligan. And then go to 5. They're also on 6 instead of 5. Okay, so I definitely want to keep Trainer plus Flare. So I guess I'm going to put back 1, 2, well, sorry, let's keep Steam Vents, and then the fetch land, and we can Surveil on turn 1. Such deck's the best shell for Flare Denial? I don't know. It's early, I think. Trainer is really important for Flare Denial. I have a blue-white base shell too. This one is certainly showing some early promise, I think. Just a little early. Doesn't consign counter Storm. Countering Storm is irrelevant. It is pretty irrelevant to counter Grapeshot. It's more relevant to counter Empty, but it's not going to happen that often. Okay, the Rin's Resolve at another mountain. When they get to the point where they're killing you with Grapeshot, they almost always will have like the density of resources to not only get you with Grapeshot, but also flashback Past and Flames to counter Grapeshot again. It is just not a good plan of attack. Okay, so they had 2 lands off this Rin's Resolve. They should play the Mountain now, so they can get one of these Wooded Foothills next turn. Have we whiffed on Thundertrap yet? I don't think so. Haven't been many opportunities to do so. I'm gonna play the Kitsa. Sorry, I'm pretty sure I have 2 Thundering Falls. Not 100% sure. Okay, I did not land on 2 Thundering Falls, so we will play this. Get in there, Trainer. Yeah, I've seen more and more people trying to play Galvanic Relay. It kind of strikes me as people trying to, like, solve some problems with Storm or, like, you know, just try other stuff. But I don't think it's probably very good. How do I feel about Kitsa as a threat? Kitsa's been pretty solid. I think Kitsa makes a lot of sense in this more controlling Wizard Shell that has some, like, really good stuff to copy. And like likes the looting card selection. I think Kitsa makes more sense here than it does in just like regular prowess, but I'm excited to play with this card. I really want to play this card with Basim, Tamiyo, Mox Amber, since it's a cheap legend. Could we splash for Omnath in this deck? I don't know. I mean, I would think probably not. You You also probably haven't seen me play many Omnaths on the channel. It's not really a card that I would love to play. But I don't really think it makes sense in this archetype. Okay, they keep a card on top with their Surveil land. Plays the Gemstone Caverns. They counterspell this. They probably should have... I'm surprised that they played their land first. It is cool to see Gemstone Caverns, though. What animal would you become if I went to Bloomburrow? An excellent question. That'll be some kind of fish, I think. A sloth? Yeah, I could be a sloth. I'm down. Hmm. I mean, I would love to flare this. Doesn't really feel the safest. It's a flare. Although I guess what's nice about flaring is they can't double ritual because it's Burgi and not a Ruby. If they like play a ritual, play a a Manamorphose, I can kill it in response with 2 flares up, and although only 1 flare we'd really love to play, but I can just Flame of Anor in response, and they can't play another 2-mana card in response. I don't understand how people are playing Burgi. Storm players will do anything besides put freaking Dragon Rage's Channeler in their deck. Okay, so they have 5 mana, including this treasure token. Don't need to be worried about Past in Flames. Next turn, I can go. Bolt. Snap. Oh, so I can't go. I'm 1 mana short of Bolt, Snap Bolt, Copy Bolt again. Kitsa can loot away additional copies of itself. Think that one can get away with playing additional copies due to that? Yeah, that's kind of why I'm playing 3 instead of 2, is that you can loot away additional copies. You could play 4 probably pretty smoothly too. But yeah, I think like I would probably be wanting to play 2 instead of 3. But because it can loot away other copies, I'm playing 3. Give me a second. Esther said she'd bring us tea like 3 hours ago. Checking on that while my opponent waits. Missing in action, just like our opponent.
What's up? It's me, your friend, Aspiring Spike.
Okay, my opponent is wishing. So what's the storm count here? Burgi, Ritual, Flame of Anor, Wish. So if this is just for Grapeshot, Grapeshot doesn't really do very much, right? It just kills Kitsa. Have they already played their land this turn? They haven't played a land, so one card that could be really bad is Flage. If they go land Flage. I think I'm down to counter this. Seems like a safe counter. Yeah. I think so too, but it did also kind of feel like we could have like just let it go and likely been fine. So I do like that draw. Just gonna go ahead and loot in combat again. Yeah, we could take our time. Because I'm really likely to counter a Past in Flames this turn, then I can untap and just hearse the Past in Flames. And then if they don't play into that, I can like Snap Flame, kill the treasure token, draw 2. I don't know if you need to counter because Flare makes Kitsa 3/5 with prowess if you counter something else. The entire reason I countered the wish there was if my opponent had a land in their hand, they could cast a flage, and I could. I mean, I didn't have the hearse in my hand at the time. If I did have hearse in my hand, oh, that's funny. If I did have a first in my hand, I would certainly have been more likely to just let this resolve. But yeah, I think having hearse is enough of a reason to let it resolve. Or sorry, not not having hearse is enough reason to counter. Sorry. Okay, I'm gonna discard one of these. And then I can go Trainer Tamiyo with Counterspell up still. Could maybe be better to play Hearse. Hearse Tamiyo. Why not run Hearse out pre-combat for 1 extra damage? I might draw something off the loot, which will make me want to sequence differently. And get rid of the Strike It Rich now. I believe that they had not played a land the turn they cast Wish. I looked in the game log, and I did not see that they had played a land. Do you think the Otter's better than Party Thrasher? Maybe for Flare it is. This Otter plus Flare has been really good so far. As far as Kitsa goes, Kitsa has been fine. Maybe just a little less important. Okay, so they are Orim's chanting on my turn. I have a hard time imagining that I could ever care about this. So let's just let that go. But Flair has been feeling awesome in this deck. It's kind of like everything I had hoped it would be post MH3. Honestly, I think Augur of Bolas builds is probably something we should have explored a little bit more closely. But, and I was kind of wanting to, then they spoiled Thundertrap Trainer. I'm like, okay, we can just wait for this card to come out. What's my opinions on the number of Murktide and Blue-Black Frogtide? I think you should probably play 3. I haven't really worked a lot on the archetype, though, and I would, try to find the opinion of someone who has worked on the archetype more. All right, let's let this go. Although, imagine if they grabbed a Valakut here. It'd be so crazy. What's that shitty Ponder creature from Image 2? That card is 5 mana. That card, there's a 5 mana 3/4 that casts a Ponder on ETB. It is not what we call in the business a playable modern card. That's not how bad I remember the card being. Yeah, makes sense. That is what it does, though. It is a 5 mana. So this is 3 plus, yeah, okay. Lethal Lightning Bolt. Okay, 3060. Watch for tomorrow versus Augur of Bolas. Bolas is definitely better. It's like no one can play any 1 toughness creatures because of Bowmaster, and it just is funny to me, like how like integral Ocelot Pride is as like a threat in Modern. It is a format defining threat in combination with Guide of Souls, in combination with some other stuff. The card is crazy good, but it is very funny to me that it's like such a format defining card in the Orcish Bowmaster Wrenn and 6, Lava Dart type format. But it is just that good. I don't know if I'd say too powerful, but card is crazy. Also, Pride is even the best white 1-drop in MH3. Yeah, people do like to get a little stuck in the weeds on like, what's more powerful, Ocelot Pride or Guide of Souls? And it kind of doesn't matter. Because if you have Guide of Souls in your deck, you want Ocelot Pride. If you have Ocelot Pride, you want Guide of Souls. The 2 cards just play super duper well together. It's not very clear to me which one is more important or better. but they do kind of different things. Like also, like what's crazy about Ocelot Pride is that it is both your early game and your late game. It's kind of wild that it's like it's how you take over the game in the late game, and is also like it is also good early game threat. Pretty wild. Yeah, but yeah, I don't think it to me. I just don't really care which one is better because you just play four of each whenever you play one. They just are. It's like almost the same card. Maybe that's not the best way to think about it. Damn, I missed the Bant deck. You did not miss the Bant deck. This is the only deck we've played today. We're on match number 4. Any chance you may try Merc over Kitsa here, or is it firmly Kitsa? Well, it's Kitsa at the moment because I want to be playtested the new cards. You know what I mean? And I am certainly more interested in testing the new cards than anything else at the moment. I'm just gonna bottom both of these. Like I can flip the Tamiyo here if I want to. I don't know if I want to. Oh, we're just playing Kitsa. This Rot Farm commercial district is kind of throwing me off. Let's play the Kitsa. Let's get a little bit more pressure down. Offspring's been good. But to some extent it's like, yes, you could play Murktide in blue-red. This is a very tried and true, very tested formula, Murktide Regent in blue-red. And it's not something I think you need to really spend too much time worrying about thinking about, because it's just a way that you could have been building this deck for a long time. Don't really need to trip about it too much. So I guess they're Amulet Titan with an above average number of fetch lands. Let's loot. Not very good cards to see there. It's Amulet with Persist. Okay. What is it that our opponent... Is just the mana that our opponent's played that has clued us into that? Or is there something I'm missing that dictates that? Okay, it looks like we're getting a link. So it's playing Rumble and Bitter Reunion. Pretty interesting. Rumble is really good. No rings is probably really nice for us. Sideboard Archons is interesting too. Like no idea when those are supposed to come in. Okay, there's a Bitter Reunion. This card is a Primeval Titan. Do you have 2 untapped lands persist? That would be bad. There's 1 untapped land. Ah, Grazer. So 4 cards in their hand before this Grazer trigger finishes resolving. They're putting another Verdant Catacombs into play. And triggering Valakut. Okay. That's a lot less than ideal. We're going to need to find Flame of Anor and find it fast. That was fast. Okay, Flare is super, 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 super important draw here. The Snare is also going to be good to hold up. I think I'm just going to discard this Kitsa, let this hit happen. And then I don't need to play Tamiyo this turn because I can play it, cast Preordain, and tap Kitsa next turn to just flip it. So I guess I'll just Surveil here. Hey, Esther. Oh, thought I heard her. Okay, well, Hopefully they don't have a cavern, but I'm gonna try to make them pay for this summer's pack. Any reason we didn't attack with Snap? I guess we're sorry we should have attacked with the Snap. Or did they? Yeah, they didn't have the Dryad as the blocker. Right. Gotta sack it to Flare. Yeah, you can't snap. You can't cast Flare for 0 mana when you flash it back. Plays a bounce land, picks up a commercial district. They're gonna have to spend 4 of their 8 mana at their upkeep also. Do not want to Tamiyo first. Why do we need the Tamiyo now? It's better to preordain first, make sure we want to play Tamiyo, then tap Kitsa to flip Tamiyo. Because I don't understand why we need to Tamiyo first. To flip it, I can still flip it. I'm still planning on flipping it here even. And Grazer more powerful than Kitsa still. In very good shape. It is nice that like Flare of Denial has been like kind of like clearly the reason we've won several of these games. Has been just so nice. Alright, pay for your pact. It's also nice that Snare is countering a lot of things in this build. They're a Bitter Reunion, Rumble, Persist build. Like Spell Snare is just like a premium card, where in the past it, wouldn't exactly have been. They keep a card on top. I'm kind of scared of shifting Woodland, I guess. Would you have a mind to counter Spell Snare? I just listed off a bunch of cards, but Bitter Reunion, Persist, Malevolent Rumble. Assuming this is Mistaken's list, which I think we've kind of deduced it is. It looked like there were 10 2-drops in there. I can shock and just sack 2 clues in a turn if I don't need to interact with anything. Could wait on the loot also. Yeah, we did Offspring once. It'll come up. It'll come up. Not super often. I think I'm down to Snap Snare this. Do you run Orm's Chant in my Storm list? No, I usually just try to play around counterspells. But you can. I also just have not really been playing a lot of Storm, Shocking does change how many Valakut triggers we can eat. Yeah, I mean, I'm just not gonna be too worried about that. We can stop them from getting a Dryad kind of easily. Thank you, Kitsa. So nice of you. Yeah, I guess I can actually Offspring here, like super comfortably. With even like the ability to, if I hit a counterspell, pay 3 life to sink into the Stupor to hold it up. Counterspell. Flame of Anor. Then probably save the loot for end of turn after I sack a clue, since all of my cards in hand are pretty good. We were gonna use Kitsa's ability earlier, and I messed up and didn't let the prowess trigger resolve. But it was when we were in garbage time against Storm, so it didn't really end up mattering very much. Right. Be awesome if we just get the 5-0 10-0. They keep a card on top, and they pass back. I guess we can probably kill them here. Okay, now we could definitely kill them. Assuming I don't misclick. I mean, even if I misclick again, I just pick up Lightning Bolt again. Don't even need to copy it. Okay, so we're up a game against Titan. Been a while since we played the matchup. Presumably this build isn't playing Ring. At least the list that we looked at wasn't. So sideboarding is going to be like a little bit different from normal. Lightning Bolt is quite bad. I don't want any copies of it. The Charmaws are not as good as you'd want them to be, but I think are passable enough to play. Consign is a lot better against the builds that have Ring. Countering Amulet, Saga Chapter 3, and occasionally like Cultivator ETB, Titan ETB is probably good enough reason to play Subnumber. The Flames are also pretty good in the matchup. Might cut a Kitsa. Yeah, we could play Hearse for Persists. I guess I'm trying to open that list again. Because I can't remember if that list had Shifting Woodland, then it's gonna be right to play Hearse. Okay, 2 Shifting Woodlands. Okay, so let's go in on the Hearses. I guess Hearse over the Consign since they have Persist, and the Woodlands will be very difficult to beat without the Hearses. I guess I have the Charmaws, but still. Let's give this one. Let's give this build a go. Although having 1 Scolding is probably okay. Also countering Grazer is not a thing. I think I'll play 1 over the second Fire Ice. The Fire Ice is like okay. Yeah, I would love to have Pyroglyph and the other Glyphs in Modern. It was like a miss that they weren't. Have I considered playing Tidebinders? Yeah, I've considered playing Tidebinders. I do think Tidebinders would be pretty reasonable, not super mandatory. Could see play Needles in the board over Narsets. Maybe. I feel like I really want Narsets for Ring matchups, but certainly would be fine. If they play a Dryad here, am I going to flare it? Does not feel very good. But probably correct. I think I'm actually going to also just tap out for a trainer and hope they don't have something else to tap out for if I miss on another flare. Is Snare good? Against this build, it's good. It has like 10 targets. Rumble, Persist, Bitter Union. Trainers seem better than the other Otter. Yeah, I mean, I think I agree that it seems at the moment that Trainer is like a really important tool for this deck, and thank you, sweetheart. And Kitsa is like fine, but there are like a ton of wizards you can play in that slot, and you also don't even necessarily need the extra creatures.
I put some ice cubes in it, so it should be close to.
That was very nice. That was very thoughtful of you. Thank you, sweetie. Warhorse against Titan. Yeah, so they're a Persist build that's also playing Shifting Woodland. Shifting Woodland, I think, is going to be very tough to beat without Hearse. Again, we're kind of assuming that this is the build, but it does seem like that's the case. So I do draw land number 3. Seems like I should be holding up. Well, with them probably not playing Ring, maybe I should just kill the Amulet this turn. Is Kitsa better than the Red Lizard? I don't know. I mean, we're trying to figure it out. But Kitsa's been solid so far. Kind of slow, but that's kind of like what you want it to be in this deck anyways. So they do keep a card on top. Why the one Augur with already 4 Thundertrap Trainers? We have 4 Flare of Denials. I want 5 2-mana cards to sack to it. The first Augur is also it's just a good card in the deck. We have enough cards for it to hit. It's just like a solid 2-for-1. Don't need to overthink it too much. Okay, so they hit Titan, Bounceland, Mortuary, Verdant Catacombs as their options here. How's the matchup against Boros? We played against it round 1. We won pretty handily. 2-0'd them. Even despite like having to counterflate like the same flage like 3 times both games, we just had enough resources to be able to do so. Certainly won't always be super duper smooth, but it was pretty smooth. Any Brewers with the 1-drop Lizard that pings? Not yet. It is a card I like and is a card I want to play, but I've not started deck building with it. Maybe I can have something ready for tomorrow. No new lands. They did put the Titan into their hand. Let's maybe try to just hit our land drop here. Okay, just keep both of these, and then pass for now. Why so much support for Wizard, but none for the Rat Dreamers? The Rats we'll have our revenge one day. Our glorious ascension. Okay, so the hand is Titan. 4 mystery cards. I guess sorry, they can just cast Titan here. Would Murktide fit in the deck? I don't think it's optimal, but of course it's a card you could choose to play here. Okay, they keep a card on top. You know, it's Murktide, it's not rocket science. That card is a fine one to play in blue-red decks in Modern. Just passing back here, I think. Can snap Flame, kill the Grazer, draw 2 end of turn. Maybe kill an Amulet or something. Maybe snap Counterspell a Primeval Titan. I guess I should have snap flared. So now a future Snapcaster is a little bit more awkward. 2 Primeval Titans down, though. And we can start getting in for 1 damage every turn. So I guess I'm taking Preordain, looking for a Flare or a Counterspell. If I miss, I'll go Augur, looking for 1. So bottom both of these. We find a Flare. So I think finding Flare, we play Kitsa instead of Augur. Get in. Although maybe it was better to play Hearse and then not have to like Flare or persist this turn. Although they didn't persist a Titan this last turn, but maybe they won it if they had it, if they couldn't double spell. They grab a Dryad, which is pretty interesting. I think I need to flare this to not get Valakut out of the game. Kind of sad to not have my Scolding up here. So, of course, nice for us that they have to pay 4 mana on their turn, and they probably can't play another Titan. And we have Scolding for Dryad. Oh, damn it. Well, this game got harder. It is good for us that this is only a 5/5 because of Persist. Punished for not praying Kitsa over Hearse. And they have Shifting Woodland now. So let's see what we draw. Holy guacamole. Top decks have been kind of unreal this league. And we drew Flare. So if they pay 4 for the Pact, it's a little bit awkward where they can. I guess because they have to pay for the Pact, they won't be able to double copy anything with Woodland this turn, and I can go end of turn exile 2 things, and then have it this a bit more contained. No blocks for our opponent, right? So they have to pay for Pact, and then they can only activate Woodland one time, which we can deal with. We also have Flare if they cast a spell instead. Can we take them off Delirium? I don't think we can, because they have 2 Dryads. Yeah, we can't. They have double enchantment creature, and then sorcery artifact land. But I might be able to take them off Delirium now that we have 2 taps. So I wonder if is it better for me to go. I guess if I go, so they have 2 Dryads, 2 Primeval Titans. So if I get rid of all of those, then they do still have Delirium. Okay, I don't. Oh, they have a Beseiju? Jeez. So now they can start copying the Woodland and triggering Valakut every turn, but maybe we can erase that now that we've gotten rid of both Titans. I cannot believe how good these draws are. Just like unbelievable MTGO premium here. So I'm just gonna get rid of both Dryads now. Guess I can also play this too. Just not needing to block with the Grazer, I guess. Can play the Tamiyo, just have double flare up. Okay, your turn. Right now they're a mana short of cast Titan and then copy it with the Woodland. Alright, don't need to counter this. Awesome Cosmo. Yeah, the energy matchup, the control matchup is really weird with Dimir Basim. It's a pretty fun one though. Not today. Still have to main phase the Hearse activation because they can multiple. Oh, okay, just gonna concede. Okay, we are 4-0. We have not lost a game with 7 standard Otters in our deck, huh? Me playing the extra sink into the Stupors kind of made me want to play one less Falls, but and we also have the looting from Kitsa, so you kind of need the Surveil lanes less when you have a looter in your deck, but you totally could. Okay, on the draw for round 3. Forest Stirrings. Revealing the One Ring. Interesting. Well, I mean, typically good to hold up Spell Snare on turn 2. If I find the link on Twitter composed here, sure. Sure. So happy they didn't have the Kozilek's command into Ring. Instead, they're Myco spawning. Sure. I think I'm just gonna shock and pass. Planning to play Riptide Lab Wizards anytime? I'm not planning to put Riptide Laboratory in a deck. No, I might. I guess like there are some new stuff like the new Port Mage and the new Trainer or whatever. But for the most part, I'm trying to probably steer clear of a card like that. All right, see if we can find a counterspell here. So I guess now I Flame of Anor and then see if we can find Flare. And if we don't find a Flare, we'll just have to play through the ring, which is doable. No Flare. Doable, but, you know, less than ideal. Step 3 for tutoring. You don't want to tutor in the stack. Well, don't love that we didn't find any counter magic. That being said, I can go Bolt, Tamiyo back Bolt, Snap Bolt for 9 damage next turn. I think I should hold up Fire Ice also, where if they threw the breach Ulamog, I can Ice Ulamog. Could also just cast Fire, put them to 17, plus 9, plus 4. 9 plus 4, 13. Yeah, not quite lethal. All is dust. Okay, certainly not feeling very good about our spot. Since they didn't have a thing turn 2, wouldn't it be better if you ice the temple on their turn 3 upkeep? Well, I mean, it's just kind of awkward to not play Wizard on turn 2 with Flame of Anor in hand. And then Kitsa could also help smooth out the draw sometimes. Not that that is what happened here. Not that that is what happened here. So Bolt Snap Bolt to put my opponent down to 11. It's just an awkward game. I think I'm going to go for the Bolt Snap Bolt here. Sync Ring. Good sync. Does that seem like a good play? I don't know. It doesn't really seem like a good play. I don't know. This also doesn't seem great, so I'm open to talking about it, of course, but yeah, I don't know. I think I like this. Or didn't like it, but isn't Sinking Ring another 3 damage? Well, it's also like a bunch of extra cards for them, and they like still have the other ring in their hand to reset this ring, so it's like not really a lot of meaningful extra damage, right? Yeah, I agree. I think our only chance to really win this game is if we can cheese a bunch of damage through. So I think you're supposed to go for the Bolt Snap Bolt line. I'd love to flip Tamiyo this turn. I guess I'm going to take the Flare, though. But we also have like a bunch of Charmaws and Consigns post board, so I don't think we need to be too worried about this matchup. Ice 3 upkeep so they take 1. I think it's just better to use the mana now and cycle. Certainly a tough game. I think they're about to cast an Ulamog, which is not really scary. They exile a lot of cards in my library. Okay, Kozilek's command. I mean, I don't really care about this. One top, 3 on the bottom. So they exile a land of mine, get a land of theirs. Doesn't seem like something I need to fuss about. Floating mana also kind of a waste of time. Sanctum of Ugin. Surprised that they play that. It's interesting. Got him. You've been had, opponent. Alright, let's graveyard that. Attack with Tamiyo, cast this Preordain, and good chance we're trying to flip the Tamiyo here. Well, got a lot of cards in their hand and a lot of mana. We'll see what happens. Down to 11 life points. Is this Emrakul mana? I don't think this is Emrakul mana. I might be miscounting. Ah, that's 15. Okay, let's... Can't counter that one. Next game. Consign's in. Charmaw's in. I believe we're cutting all of our bolts and our fire ices. So we may just submit this, although we don't want this many snares. I think we can play one snare. They got talismans. I think that's probably okay to play one. They could also play a fire ice instead. Gonna play a bolt instead. This looks pretty good though. Narset digging for consigns is nice. Narset making command and ring a little bit worse is nice too. Let's submit this. They likely have rumbles. Breach has been playing rumbles? I feel like I haven't seen that. Obviously they might be playing it. Do you think the cost reducing Otter would have a place in this list instead of Kitsa, for example? Like the only thing it reduces is the Flame of Anor, so like obviously 2 mana Flame of Anor is fine. I guess reduce hardcast Flare of Denial, but it would just be a different build of the deck. Like you can't really play that card without 4 mana Morphos in your deck. No moon effects. No, I'm playing Obsidian Charmaw instead of Moon because I think Charmaw is better than Moon. What do you preordain post-combat instead of pre? So that way we get the clue from the Tamiyo. It's like in these matchups, you need the pressure in addition to the mana disruption, and Charmaw is just very good pressure while also being mana disruption. Wouldn't it be better for Consider over Preordain with so many counterspells and instants for Snapcaster value? You can Snapcaster Preordain. It actually costs the same amount of mana instead. Obviously, it's nice that you could hold up the counter magic and then choose to Snapcaster the Consider at instant speed. But Preordain is also it just sees like twice the cards Consider does. Okay, sorry. Resolve this. Just sees twice the cards, and I'm pretty comfortable keeping a 1-land Preordain hand. I'm not really very comfortable keeping a 1-land Consider hand. And for me that's usually like kind of all the argument I need, but I would be of course open to talking about it some more, trying to figure it out. As always. Okay, so I don't want to flare this. Definitely makes my... Well, it makes my Charmaw cheaper, so I guess it doesn't make it, like, a lot worse. Well, we're going to target this, but then they'll just put it back into their hand, probably. So I guess I'll play the Kitsa this turn, just kind of get more ahead on board, still have the flare up. Like in this spot, if we had Blood Moon, it just doesn't... It cuts them off colorless cards, but they just have green and red mana. Charmaw just 2 mana Stone Rain, 4/4 flyers, so crazy. So we'll say no to this. Show me how to say no to this. Narset's an interesting pickup. I'll keep another Preordain, grow the Kitsa a bit more. So I've already drawn too many cards to flip the Tamiyo here. I could keep the Tamiyo though. And then draw into the Tamiyo off the Kitsa. Discarding the Snare, probably. Maybe you could discard something else. We'll discard the Snare. Why don't you ever do stuff like auto yield to Kitsa's prowess triggers? I play really, really fast, much faster than anybody else. And because I play so quickly, I have the luxury of making sure I'm clicking everything correctly and trying to minimize misclicks on the channel. Misclicks are not very good for the channel, so I just try to not auto yield and make sure I'm clicking OK to everything. And I do sometimes always yes, always yield, but I just don't need to because I'm faster than everybody else. So probably do just counter the 6/6 here. Maybe you could play Narset pre-combat. I think that I maybe have enough things that I could find off the Narset to make that not what I want to do. I build 1/2 Search for Contest. Search for this contest is unplayable. There are better options, basically always. Not really a real reason to play it. Is Consign better than Counterspell? Counterspell stops Breach, which probably does not make it a better card here. And then I think I'll play the Sink into the Stupor since I have Tamiyo and like I'll have like another clue, so I just have this stuff to do with my mana. Consign is almost always better. I mean, not against this. Not here when my opponent got through the Breach. Obviously, like it's better against Devourer #2 or Mycospawn #2. We're bluffing Counterspell anyway. I guess. I mean, if their hand is just through the Breach Emrakul, they're gonna cast it here. I don't think they're just gonna play around anything. They're like actually way more likely if I put Consign into my hand. That is. Do they have the Kozilek's command? Looks like they have the Kozilek's command. But they can't draw off the Kozilek's command, but they could scry for a lot. So instead they make spawns and they exile this, which might mean I get Emrakul'd. I can stop the extra turn off the Emrakul. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Plus 6. Yeah, I know that Emrakul is uncounterable, but I can counter the extra turn with the Consign. Draw 2 to find Charmaw. Well, I'm going to kill the spawn, which means they have to have a double land to Emrakul me next turn anyways. But yeah, I could also find the Charmaw, that's true. Can't find a Charmaw off Augur, so we'll just cast this. And maybe we can keep killing spawns and like finding Charmaws, hopefully, to keep them off of a hardcast Emrakul. Maybe they'll cast Ulamog and then be far away from hardcasting Emrakul. I can consign the Ulamog. Out of curiosity, is there a reason you're not triggering prowess before damage? I'm pretty sure I did trigger prowess before damage there. There have been other times where I haven't, but I believe I meant to cast that after they declared blocks, which is that was the right time to cast it last turn. I'm not convinced that's what I did, but that is what I meant to do. Okay, so I'm just gonna go Snap Flame, kill a spawn again to try to not lose to hardcast Emrakul. Would love to be able to copy here. Could, but I don't think we really have a way to do that. That makes sense, at least. So I've already drawn too many cards to flip a Tamiyo this turn. Just gonna go attack for 3 and then loot with Kitsa. Discard extra Kitsa. Then let's play Tamiyo. Play untapped Steamvent since I don't have another island to fetch. So is recurring Flame of Anor in the fair matchups with Mystic Sanctuary something you're not interested in? I'm so sorry, lad, to tell you this. I was very, you might want to sit down. I was very upset to find this news out myself, but Mystic Sanctuary is banned in Modern. banned in Modern and has been banned in Modern for like 3 years. And I don't know. I remember how upset I was to find that out. Okay, looks like we're going to game 3 for the trophy. Let's go. Oof.
How was the tea?
It was very good, very, very needed. I think I appreciate you for bringing that.
Yeah.
We're playing for a trophy right now, and we have 7 otters in our deck.
7 auditors? I'm just kidding.
No, as a streamer, auditors are my worst enemy. Which otter do you think is cuter, Esther? Kitsa, Otterball Elite, or Thundertrap Trainer?
Oh. Well, he's cute, but wait.
He plays Otterball professionally.
Okay.
What is Otterball? We don't really know.
Okay, what about this one? This one? But look at him, he's a pirate!
Yeah, I don't really know why he's a pirate. He's a wizard, but he's also definitely a pirate, so...
I like this one.
Okay. It is the better card, too, I think. I was going to step on your toe.
Oh.
Okay, on the draw against Through the Breach for game 3. This hand has no Charmaw, it has no Consign. Is pretty bad if we don't draw. Counterspell, Consign, Charmaw. I'm going to mulligan, I think, on the draw on 6. This hand has a Charmaw and has Flare plus Augur. It doesn't have second red mana yet, but I'm going to click the keep button and think this hand is probably the better of the two.
Can you even see me? Oh, no.
Not quite.
Hey, guys. Spike is short. No.
Esther's just very, very short.
Yeah, this angle makes me even shorter.
Okay, Tamiyo top deck is good, I'd say. I just am wearing my high heels is
Oh, yeah.
all.
Heels on my tippy.
No Kolos lands over there yet. They revealed a ring to the stirrings, by the way. Gotta take that Preordain. Guess that was kind of the card I was hoping to find anyways. So Ugin's Labyrinth to imprint something and then try to cast a ring. They imprint a Emrakul, 3 cards in hand after they ring. 0 mana counterspells. All you need. So I could hold up this flare. I think it makes a bit more sense to Preordain and then sack a clue maybe. Okay. Although now let's keep the Preordain to try to find second red source for next turn, but I'm just gonna keep up clue sack / counterspell, you know. Tamiyo play patterns. Does lab discount 1? It discounts Charmaw by 1, not 2. Okay, so Cavern on Eldrazi, so this could be an uncounterable Eldrazi, perhaps. Not this turn, at least. They might, like, kick a Mycospawn next turn. World Breaker could be kind of bad. Either way, we're drawing this Preordain, untapping. We draw a Sink into the Stupor. So still not more red mana. Okay, well, let's wait for this Preordain to enter the stack. I don't know. Okay, got some lag. Bottom both of these, looking for red mana. Fail to find it. Let's play this untapped, and I'll like flame the Talisman end of turn if I don't need to counterspell something. Maybe we'll flame a creature, like a Thought-Knot Seer or something. They cast Devourer, we'll kill this. That's fine. Also, we'll go after that with the flame instead, I think. That's a flame, not a flare. Oh, sorry. I know what this card is, but thank you for checking. Okay, destroy, draw 2. 1 card in their hand. There's our red mana. Fair enough. Any reason to not sack a clue on my turn? Not really. Just all I can do is counterspell. I can't even snap anything. I think we keep that. That lets me go Charmaw with double counterspell up. 2 cards in their hand. Tapping for Eldrazi mana. Obviously not super good for them to be able to resolve something. They resolve a kicked Sowing Mycospawn. So let's go ahead and just crack a clue token and see what they get. I can hit the lab that has the Emrakul underneath it now. I could maybe be better to hit the Sanctum or the Cavern of Souls. I think I'm going to hit the Cavern of Souls. If you would do something else with the Charmaw, let me know. But I think the Cavern makes sense to me here. White Clue overplaying Narset. Because I can hold up Counterspell. Or sack the Clue. I can't play Narset and hold up Counterspell. They find a Kozilek's command. Seems like they have. They have enough mana for the... I don't think this is enough to trigger Sanctum. Oh, it is exactly enough to trigger Sanctum. Well, that's bad. I wonder what they get. With so many Kozileks, so this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they get an Ulamog. Maybe I can find a Consign to not exile half my library, but I can just kind of tank the cast, I guess. Shouldn't be too bad. How crazy would it have been to bring in Pyroclasms? Pretty crazy. So 1 top, 4 in the bottom. We draw Esteem Vents. So they have Ulamog and, you know, a bunch of mystery cards in their hand. I think I'm going to play Narset this turn, looking for Consign. We have 3 Consigns in the deck. We're like not super unlikely. Oh, sorry. I thought I had enough mana to Narset with double Counterspell up. It does seem like not having double Counterspell up here is a punt, so I'm just going to play this and then discard a Narset. Wouldn't Flame prevent Ulamog? No. They have 3, 4, 5, 6. They have 11 mana. You have land drop? I'm counting the land drop. 3 plus 3. If I play Steam Vents on tap, that's not enough. You can still find Flame or Consign. I need to be able to have 2 counterspells up here. My opponent has 4 cards in hand. It's just like kind of easy for them to have like command plus ring, or you know like just two through the breach plus ring, through the breach plus command, through the breach plus Thought Knot Seer, for me to want to have 2 counterspells this turn. I think it, and then also if my opponent doesn't play much, I can still sack clues. Just kind of seem like an easy, or just correct to not. So here they do have Kozilek. I'm not going to tap out a counterspell again, but I'm going to sack a clue. And now I can go Narset with counterspell. So this is a still a good reason to hold this Charmaw back. McFluff with the 50 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Tense game 3 here. Yeah, the real line was to not sack the clue into the counterspell. I agree. Yeah, take the Consign, especially with these Snapcasters in our hand, I guess. And I think I'm want to be able to hit my land drop next turn. Oh, I guess I'm also, because they're casting something here, I don't have to go to discard. Unbound Flourishing Kozilek's command. That sounds pretty fun. No, I don't think you should play Field of Ruin. It's obviously a fine card to play, but I don't think it would be optimal in the deck. They could be at 12 here, not sitting with Maul twice. Are you sure that's right? Why are we holding it back? Well, I'm holding it back here, like I said, to protect this Narset. Last turn I didn't attack because I thought I was going to be tapping out for Narset. That ended up not being what I chose to do. Okay, so my opponent's hand is Ulamog Mystery card. I think I'm going to go ahead and consign. Sorry, Ulamog 2 mystery cards. But here I'm protecting my Narset. I'm also at 9 life. I'm like not like winning this race, but feels like enough of a reason for me. Another Consign. Is better than the Counterspell. So now I can start getting in with the Charmaw if I want to. Snap Flame. I can Snap Flame with Consign and Counterspell up, but not replicate Consign and Counterspell. Snap Flame. I do like that the Narset makes command worse. I think we can go ahead and get in. But it's just going to be very tough for them to play through all these counters at this point. And because I have second Tamiyo, I think it's also okay to just throw this away here. Can replay. At this point, Flame could take them off Ulamog. Well, we want them to cast Ulamog because they have to use all their spawns, and then Consign just wrecks them. So 11 mana over there. Going after their talisman feels kind of nice. Just like the way I'm gonna lose this game is my opponent hardcasts Emrakul. So just keeping them off of the spawn or off of like 15 mana feels like that's likely going to be an important way to not lose. Kitsa should be helpful on the not losing front also. Your turn. Infinite counter spells, basically. Maybe it's better to snap counterspell there. Okay, well, I didn't win every single game. We did 5-0 our first league. Pretty exciting. Top of the leaderboard over here. Let's run it back. I want to get a second league of this in. I think maybe it was no. Let's do a second one. Let's do a second one.